Hey everyone, welcome to the final Taco Tuesday of the month for Adtomic. Not that we won't be doing more topics on Adtomic, our PPC management tool, but this is the fourth one in a row for the month of May that I've been doing, and we'll be going back to our regular schedule next in 2 weeks. So I've been informed that I need to tell everybody that I broke my foot over the weekend. My left foot, just landing on it wrong off of a curb. We were supposed to be doing a Instagram live, and that was going to involve me going into the office, which of course I'm not going into the office with the broken foot, trying to stay off of it as much as possible. So that's why that is not happening today. However, if you guys were here last week, I did mention that we would be doing Clubhouse as well. We didn't have some things finished that I wanted last week, but we do this week. So we will be doing Clubhouse, and I might have a guest speaker come on to that half hour, which will be at 11 o'clock, starting right after this one. So if you guys have not used your Clubhouse or not been on Clubhouse, get on there, look up my name. It's just under Vincent Montero. Or you can look directly at my handle or screen name, whatever you want to call it on Clubhouse. And that's just at PPC Pros. So PPC PROS. Yes, so I was on vacation since last Thursday and did get some sun, got a little tan, as Jake has noticed. Let us know where you guys are checking in from. What sunny parts of the world are you guys watching from? I know Jake likes to watch like us from the rain somewhere in like Idaho or something, but it'd be great to know where you guys are all checking in from around the world in the same state. Let us know where you guys are checking in from. And while we're doing that, just as a reminder, yes, I did. I was in Palm Springs over the weekend. So very desert, very dry. My lips were all chapped. Mexico, Pakistan, more deserts. I need to go to some cool places, guys, next time. What do you guys suggest? Oh, Finland. I'd love to go to Finland for a holiday. I need cool air destination spots. So any good recommendations that are not too far from California, though, because not trying to travel too much right now with COVID, but lots of great places. Yeah, Jake, I don't know, Idaho. That's how I picture you. Philippines, LA, Mexico, Kansas. Oh, it's Kansas. Rainy Scotland. See, that's I love Scotland. That was so green, and good scotch. Seattle's cold. Ryan, yeah, you were just in Mexico, Ryan. He is a nomad. So yeah, looking for some place to go. Probably this fall. And would love to go see some people over in Australia since I've never been there. So TACoS Tuesday again is our bi-weekly, or this month the weekly series on anything related to PPC. Previously it was about me speaking about ads, which was the PPC management tool that I built with a team of developers here. And then now we're talking about Adtomic, which is the my screensaver you can see here behind me, and it is the combination of ads and presses on. So Adtomic is the merged platforms, two merged platforms essentially into one platform. So beginning of the month, I did a sneak peek during this episode, and then we had the launch party actually the second week of May. And then last week, I just answered a bunch of questions. And so typically what we like to do is answer some questions ahead of time before we get into the content. Based on last week, based on the conversations from the people viewing last week, this week I will be doing a kind of a deeper dive into our product lifecycle stages, which then also influence the campaign builder. And if we have time, it also influences then the editable rules. So depending on how far we get into that. As always, if there are questions that you guys have that don't get answered ahead of time, not ahead of time, but if you'd like to send questions before these episodes, we do have that available as well. There's an email for that called ppcama@helium10.com. So if you ever have a question here that just doesn't get answered in time, or if you've got topics, if you've got an idea for a particular coverage that you'd like us to do or a topic you'd like us to cover, we recently did one strictly on product listing optimization and how it affects your PPC. We did an initial, and then we did a follow-up after we did the product listing updates. So ppcama@helium10.com. Again, as a reminder, that is an incoming email only. It's not don't expect to get a reply. Again, that is to let me know ahead of time what questions might have been missed from the previous week or topics that you might like us to cover. So before I get into the Adtomic's product life cycle stages and the campaign builder, I know we do have a couple of questions saved, I believe from Instagram. So I'm going to go through those first, and then I'm going to look to see what questions we might have before we move into the demo for Adtomic. So let's look at those Instagram questions first. All right, can you share more insight into the PPC Adtomic dashboard? Well, that's pretty broad. The dashboard does quite a few different things. It does. It's a high level. Number one, it's a high level overview of just the date and time that you're looking at. So I will say that some benefits of using our dashboard, actually any parts of our tool, are as soon as your initial 60 days is uploaded, it's saved, and then we store your data for up to 2 years. So one thing that's great about using that, especially on the dashboard with all the graphs, is that you can really kind of get a comparison between what you did maybe last summer to what you're doing this summer, or maybe how your holidays went last December, maybe help you even with inventory. So there's benefits of that using our tool. The dashboard's also where your total ACoS is shown at an account level. If your MWS token is activated with us and you have profits activated with us, then you can see your total ACoS and total sales. And again, because it's just at an account level, so it looks at all of your sales, which includes organic and PPC sales, and it calculates them against your PPC sales for your TACoS, which is why these sessions are called TACoS Tuesdays, because we do try to emphasize using that TACoS metric, that total ACoS metric, versus just looking at your ACoS, which is it's an important metric to look at. But when you're looking at the longevity, the long-term effects of your PPC campaigns, looking at your total ACoS, your total sales numbers are definitely a beneficial thing to do. So other than that, those are the main kind of cool features, I think, of the dashboard. If you have a specific question that you wanted to ask about the dashboard, then let us know in a follow-up question. All right, what's the next? I know we had 3. Did we have? Okay, we did have 3. What resources do you recommend for keyword bidding optimization with and without Adtomic? What resources do I recommend with or without Adtomic? Well, if you're going to do without Adtomic, then I'm assuming that you mean you're going to be doing it manual, Fabian. So that just means you're going to be downloading your search term reports and your keyword reports on a regular basis. I believe you can only go back 60 days right now in Amazon. So you would just want to do that every 60 days. So you get a longer term view. And then you're going to have to take those spreadsheets and you're going to have to make it so that you can sort through them, search through them, by ACoS, by CTR, by conversion rate, by impressions, by sales, by orders, however way you're looking to optimize your keywords. I would definitely start with your search terms. Your search terms are the holy grail. That the search terms are actually what shoppers are typing in. So I always stay focused on search term optimization before keyword optimization, because doing your search term optimization is going to affect the keywords. Only if they're broad or phrase match. Exact match keywords, you can pretty much treat them exactly like search terms because it's the exact term. So you just have to do that depending on how much volume you have. I don't know how large your account is or how much revenue you're spending. You might have to look at that maybe a few days a week. If it's very, very high turning keywords, you're spending a lot in PPC. Average person can look once a week and look at the previous week's worth of data. When I was consulting, I would always do reports on Fridays, and I would only look at data from the Saturday previous. So I didn't even look at the week, the existing week that I was in. I always looked at data a week back. So you could do it that way, or you could use Adtomic, and our tool will virtually do everything I just said for you automatically for your keyword bids. So hope that answers your question. All right, think we have one more, right? All right, Mr. MDR Hustler. What do you do with high ACoS? Words that generate sales but are at 100% ACoS? Turn them off. You know, if they are words that are just blowing through your budget, that you don't really feel are valuable to your overall sales numbers, then you would turn them off. So it's different if you had words that generate 100% ACoS, but you're getting 100 sales, right? Let's say these keywords are the highest sales volume keywords that you have. Then I would say maybe look at reducing the bid to maybe get that ACoS down, and making sure that you have other keywords in your for that product that are lower ACoS. And then at that point, it's looking at what is the blended ACoS. If you've got multiple keywords in a campaign, which generally people do, it's not about the ACoS of one keyword. It's about the ACoS of all the keywords in that campaign. So as long as you've got some lower volume, lower ACoS keywords in there, it should adjust your overall ACoS down, which will help you out. There are some keywords that you're just going to have running because it is exactly what your product is, even though you know you're going to not make money on them. I call those loss leaders. So as an example, my client, they sell a crutch. Many of you guys have probably heard this, but they sell it's probably something I should order now. I need to call him and get one, and then I can show you guys. It's pretty cool. But it is, so you think of standard crutches under your arms, you're holding them and you're walking along. Well, he's got a crutch that attaches to your knee. So it basically just becomes an extension of your leg. So everything's down here. There's no crutches. You're not holding on to anything. It's just, you've got this attachment now. That's an extension of your leg, like a peg leg on a pirate. Only you get to keep your leg. So he has to be seen on the keyword crutches because that's what it is technically. However, because it's so not the common crutch or what people think about when they think of crutches, it has a terrible ACoS. It averages actually between 150 to 200% ACoS. However, he knows that that keyword is important for him to be visible for the impressions, because the impressions are what's going to get the user, the shopper who's maybe browsing for crutches. The more time they see that type of different product, the more they might buy it. They might look into it. So again, it's 100% ACoS. If you're at launch, 100% ACoS that's an entirely different thing too. So it really depends on what scenario, what life cycle you are in your product, which is what I'll go into later today. Because at launch, 100% is kind of the goal. What I say at launch, 100% should be the goal, because all you're doing is data collection at that point. But then after a couple of weeks, maybe 3 to 4 max, you do want to go through and trim down that data, right? So get that ACoS down to something more reasonable than 100%. So those are all the answers that I would give for that ACoS question. So let's see. I know there was a couple of questions that I wanted to potentially look at. There you go. When I see a campaign having low ACoS, how do I improve it? Do I increase the bids, increase the budget? How to get the most out of it? Well, the goal is low ACoS, Zayad. So if I think you might mean if it has a high ACoS, if it has high ACoS, then I just answered that question. If it's low A cost, how do you improve it? Maybe you're saying it has low A cost because it doesn't have a lot of impressions. So in that case, yeah, you increase the bids. So increasing the budget. If you've got campaigns or keywords in campaigns that just aren't moving, generally it could be a couple of things. It could be, you might have a couple of keywords in that campaign that have really high search volume, and those keywords are just eating your budget. So check, make sure you don't have mixed search volumes in your campaigns. The search volumes should be generally around each other, especially for brand new campaigns. They should be similar. And then I would say, yeah, just in general, even if you have 10 keywords in there with the similar search volumes and none of them are getting impressions, that means your bid's too low. That means your bid's too low, and that means your budget is too low. So all you can do generally when you're not getting a lot of volume on Amazon is do increases to the budgets, increases to the bids, and then see what data you get from doing that. All right. All right. Is this a follow-up from Zayed? Is 11% conversion rate of PP clicks sound good for a first month of launch? Yeah, that's actually pretty good. That's not bad. So I'm assuming then that means you're seeing your a higher A cost. So yeah, generally speaking, if you're getting good conversions, then if you want to increase that, then do the increase in budget and do the increase in bids. It is a combination of the two things. A lot of sellers think that they just increase the bids, that's sufficient. It's not. Amazon looks at your daily budget and it knows obviously what it is. So it will favor other campaigns around you that might even have lower bids sometime than you, because that particular other product campaign has let's say 3 times more budget than you do. They know they can show it a lot more. And if it has a similar conversion rate, they're going to show that campaign more than yours because they're looking at your campaign with a low budget. So definitely try both of those and see if that helps. So with that, I want to hop into, since it's already 10:20, I want to hop into Adtomic, and then I know I'll get more questions in there. So let's see. I had to use my personal computer, so nothing is saved. So give me 1 second. As while I was on vacation, my work computer was not plugged in. Here we go. And again, the thing that I want to go over with you guys is the new concepts really in Adtomic, and it will give you a general idea of why or how the updated rules work as well. So if we can, I'll share my screen. Let's see here. Let's pull this out. Sorry, guys, dealing with a broken foot and a brand new computer. All right. That's fine. I don't need it to record. Here we go. All right, so let's share that screen. Or did it not? Did it not do it? Crap. All right, let me answer some more questions then before it does this. I think I need to redo my settings for Chrome for this personal computer. So let's go with Jake. I've heard the Arctic is nice. Thank you. Let's see. Levi's got a very long question here. Let's answer that one after Talia's. Is having too many PPC campaigns good or bad? I've heard too many isn't a good thing. It depends on the types of campaigns. Talia, it depends on if you've got a bunch of campaigns that are just wasting your spend and high A cost. Yes, that is bad. If you've got a ton of campaigns that are doing really, really well, then that's not bad. So there's different strategies why you would have more campaigns than not. For example, a lot of people have variations of products and they like to do a campaign for each of the products. That way, when you have certain keywords that you are bidding upon, you might be seen multiple times on the same page because you have multiple products with the same keywords, just maybe different colors or sizes. So that is one way to kind of cast a wide net or take up a lot of real estate on the page as much as possible. So it's the reverse of that, or the opposite of that, is to just pick maybe a best performing color and just run an ad to that, knowing that ultimately the person's going to land on your page and then they're going to pick the color and size that they want anyway if they're going to make a purchase. So you end up spending less in PPC, but then you also have less PPC coverage, right? So it really depends on the strategy that you want to do. If you want a lot of coverage, then more campaigns is better. If you're really, really tight on your budget, then you really need to be a lot more specific and strategize with the types of campaigns that you're running. So having too many PPC campaigns is not a good or bad thing. It just depends on the strategy you're trying to implement. Okay, so let's see. Why did Helium 10 remove show duplicates toggle? Because it wasn't a true duplicates toggle. Actually, you can do something very, very similar in the analytics section anyway, just by sorting by campaign. So if you look in analytics, click on duplicates, click on the keywords, it'll sort them alphabetically, and then that's your duplicates. So it was an unnecessary feature. That's why it was removed. What else? When will Helium 10's atomic bugs be fixed? It depends on which bug, Jeswin. The support team would need to know which bugs that are affecting your account. Some bugs are just on an account level. Some bugs are system-wide. So when we come across the system-wide ones, that's the ones we focus on. Like, for example, I know a system-wide one is like the export feature doesn't always work. Some areas it does, some it doesn't. So they're trying to figure out why that is. Why doesn't export work in some pages, but it does in other pages? So it's really not something that we can, until we know that it's affecting an account, then we can't do anything about it, because they need to actually look into your account and look at the code on the back end to see if there was something that went wrong, to try to find, maybe yours is one of the examples that I gave, that you don't have export on half your pages or something. They need to go in there and figure out why that is the case before they can fix it. So if you guys do have any bug specific questions, then that is always the customer support question or email that you can use, which is just support@helium10.com. And that's the place where you would put in those, if you do find bugs. It's always great is to have screenshots just so they can actually see what you guys are seeing as well. And then there's also for feature request items. I know Levi had a longer question, but all it really was a suggestion. So there's I forget what it's called. There's a request feature on the Helium 10 homepage now. Submit. It's a submit feature for ideas and for possible upgrades. So that's on the homepage of helium10.com. I think it's under resources, but there are areas either you can use support for bugs, or you can use the request a feature. I think that's what it's called. It's called request a feature on the Helium 10 homepage, and that will then you be able to upload your idea for maybe a different feature or adjusting a current feature, things like that. And we do see those a lot, and then we go through them and we figure out, which are going to be viable for our roadmap rolling forward. So with that said, I think I have, we'll answer Matt's question, then I'm going to try to do the share screen again, because I think I figured out what was happening. Hi, I have a UK and US selling account, but I don't seem to be able to add both PPC tokens for Adtomic. Am I able to have both accounts in Adtomic? No, Matt, you can only have one PPC token. So you need to figure out which account you want to see as the primary, and then you need to make yourself a sub-user on the other account. So you need to use the email. So you could do it that way. You could either just have sub-account user access, or you can create a master email between the both of them. So create a sub-user effectively for both the US and UK account, and then that becomes your primary login that you use in for Helium 10. So that's it. That's how you do that. There is a video in the pro training, I believe, by Bradley. So if you want to click on how to, I think it's simply called how to add multiple accounts into the tool. It still says ads on it. We haven't updated that one yet, but the gist of what he goes through is how you do it. And also, if you look in our KB, a lot of these questions, you guys, you have to, I'm sure you do realize, like a tool this big. I mean, Helium 10 has a lot of tools, but PPC tool is a very, very big. A lot of these answers are in our tutorials. So if you just go to the knowledge base and click on Adtomic is under just marketing, then you'll see all the videos, all the tutorials are there. That question was right there. How do I add multiple accounts to for one login? Because the alternative is, of course, then you don't want to buy, you don't have to buy multiple logins, right? So we try to give shortcuts to things like that. Unfortunately for that one, we don't have control over how you set that up. So we have a lot of users that will look at that workaround and then do it wrong, and then, well, get mad at us, but they did it wrong. It's their Amazon settings. There's nothing really we can do. All we can do is give you the best information and show you step by step how things work. But then it's up to you to actually implement it. But do definitely check there for a longer answer and video and explanation, Matt. It most certainly is in our knowledge base section. So let me go ahead and click a few buttons here to give my Google Chrome, my personal Google Chrome, permission to share a page. And then that will get me into the section I was trying to show you guys. Here we go. Yeah, and I apologize for not doing this in advance. I did not know my laptop was dead. I should have, since it's been unplugged for a few days since I've been on vacation. But let's go over here. And let's pull this out again. Okay. And well, it's still saying I don't have permissions. So that's not fun. Sure. Yeah, guys, looks like I'm not going to be able to demo today, which is not fun. So let's answer a couple more questions. Velma's got a question about PPC tokens, but yeah, what's the biggest benefit of brand registry when it comes to PPC? Oh, yeah, that's a great question, Bobby. The biggest benefit is that you get access to do sponsored brands and sponsored display campaigns. When you're not brand registered, you just have access to sponsored products, and sponsored products are primarily the campaigns, or sorry, the ads that appear just on the shopper search results page. So sponsored products, product targeting also appear on listings, but only in a specific section in the middle of the page, in a long strip of other ads. Sponsored brands, though, are the ads that you see at the top of the page when you do a search. Typically, it's 3 products of the same brand. And then you've got sponsored brand video. So if you've ever seen video ads on Amazon, which you're seeing a lot more of because a lot more people are taking advantage because videos are amazing. They perform really, really well. You can only do that if you're brand registered because that's a sponsored brand video campaign. For sponsored display, which is it's remarketing, so you can target audiences off Amazon, which is pretty cool. But I actually like it for the targeting that you can do in Amazon. So if you're on a listing and you're looking at the bullets, typically there's an ad right underneath the bullets typically there's an ad right underneath the buy box. So these are prime locations, right? These are very prime locations on which someone's going to be advertising there, right? So you might as well be the person that advertises there, even on your own listings. So that's the primary benefits of, besides all the other benefits that come with brand registry, which there are a lot of. Those are the specific ones when it comes to PPC. All right, if we want to apply negative rule to an ad group with a 10-click negative threshold, how will that be calculated by Adtomic? If, for example, we had one sale every 35th click. So if we want to apply a negative rule to an ad group with a 10-click negative threshold, how would that be calculated by Adtomic? So it would look at, if you use our rule sets, we look at the search term across all your campaigns. So if it's not necessarily the search term within that one campaign, it's how that search term is performed in that block of campaigns. So we'll suggest the negative if the 10-click threshold is there. But if you have 35 more clicks since you have another sale, then you're probably having a really high ACoS campaign. So our tool looks at either or. So it's either a click threshold or it's a cost threshold. So I would just make sure that your cost threshold, if you're trying to avoid maybe too many negatives, then keep your 10-click threshold there, or maybe make it higher, but also include a spend threshold as well, so that we can look at that when making the suggestion. If you just use Adtomic, though, if you guys have noticed, if you built a campaign in our tool yet, you will notice that the thresholds aren't there. They're in the editable rules section. So we've really kind of taken the thresholds out of the equation because we're letting the tool run the calculations in the back end. We're letting it determine the click threshold based on actually lots of different things, including CTR, conversion rate, and we're also looking at bigger time frames. Adtomic will look at the minimum 7 days, but it'll look at 7 to 90 days maximum. So what you're trying to avoid here, Lucy, would be solved by not using the click thresholds and just letting Adtomic look at the data on its own, and then it would see that, you know, maybe every 35th click is when you get a sale. It would take that into consideration when potentially suggesting a negative keyword, and it probably wouldn't suggest that as a negative keyword if that was the case. So I hope that makes sense. Sean asks, how do you update ad spend within Adtomic? So if you're talking about on a campaign level, you can do that under the ad manager. I wish I could be in the screen and showing you guys. That'll probably take. I'd probably have to reboot this because I think I hit a wrong button when I first tried it the first time. But yeah, you just do that in Adtomic under daily budget column. You can edit it there. I know that some people are having bugs with that, so do it in Seller Central. If you're a person that is having the daily budget's not updating in Adtomic, just make sure. So I think what's happening is that in Adtomic you can update the budget there. It's just not showing it, but it is actually being updated in Seller Central. So if you actually just want to make sure it's updated, just do it in Seller Central until that bug. The bugs that we want to really know about are things like the rules, the suggestions, the campaign builder functionality, the editable rules capability. These are all things that you can't do in Seller Central. You don't get suggestions in Seller Central. You can't create rule sets in Seller Central. You can't create a campaign with existing rule sets in them in Seller Central. So the bugs that we've found around those features, those are our primary concern. Anything that you guys can do just in Seller Central, a simple thing like updating your campaign budget, it's a bug and it's annoying, but it's not affecting the whole point of using the tool. So I hope that makes sense, Sean. Hey, Audrey. She's such a loyal. She's always here asking great questions. My ASINs have 12 to 20% conversion rate, but PPC still performs poorly. I'm constantly optimizing and negative bad keywords. Lots of clicks and little PPC sales. Any ideas? Yes, I do hope my foot heals. I thought it was just a sprain. I did it Saturday night, and then I was on it all day yesterday. And apparently I shouldn't have been. So the products are good because you've got great conversion rates. So it sounds like you just need to figure out the right keywords, or the right search terms, or the right ASINs that are helping you with those conversion rates, and maybe just keep trimming down everything else. Constantly optimizing, negating bad keywords, lots of clicks and little PPC sales. Oh, so you're saying the conversions that you're getting are from your organic sales, your total sales, which is good. But the only thing, honestly, with something as broad as this, like we need to know what the product is, how much competition you have, how long it's been running. There's way too many variables to figure out based on a conversion rate why your PPC is still performing poorly. I would ask you, Audrey, what is your total sales? What is your TACoS? If your PPC, if your ACoS is 50%, but your total ACoS is 10% or 15% even, then I would say, you know what, you're not doing that bad. Your PPC spend is creating this sales, but it's also helping you net total sales of 10 to 15% TACoS. So I would, if you have your MWS token activated with us, Audrey, which you should, I would love to know what your total ACoS is on these campaigns, because it sounds like you've been doing a lot of optimizing. And then if that's the case, then you really should be monitoring how your total sales and TACoS is doing, not just your ACoS. So we have time if you want to follow up with that by letting us know what your TACoS is. All right. Ronak asks, tips for creating a campaign with an Adtomic. Yes, I would love to just pop in there. So it really depends, Ronak, what you, if you're brand new to selling and you just want to launch a product out there, and you don't want to deal with keyword research, just use our quick builder. Our quick builder is designed to you just give us an ASIN, and we'll generate 4 campaigns at once for you, and it will leverage the auto campaign. So the auto campaign is the base research campaign. It's the one that's going to get all of the ASINs that we get from auto campaigns that we see all the time in your search term reports. It's going to look at all the search terms, obviously. It's going to negate the bad stuff, but it's going to promote the good stuff, and it'll do it several campaigns deep. So your auto campaign is going to feed directly into your broad research campaign and your exact match campaign. And then we also have a product targeting campaign in the grouping now, so that the ASINs that are doing well will automatically be forwarded to the product targeting campaign. So my tips for that are just to use that builder. It takes a minute. You don't have to worry about click thresholds and anything like that. Again, we've taken that guesswork out based on the template. So the templates are the other major things I wanted to share with you guys. So maybe I'll just make this one up and do another one next Tuesday. We'll see. So that we've actually created really cool templates in Adtomic, and it's not just based on ACoS. It's actually based on if you're just launching a product, we have a template for that, and it's just going to be based on impressions, because when you're launching a product, it's all about the thing you want to get the quickest is data, and the thing you want to get is eyeballs. You want eyeballs on your product as quickly as possible. That's what starts branding your product in the mind of the shopper. So the focus for that template is impressions. Then we have another one called Scale, and that's going to focus on the ACoS, like your standard ACoS target campaign. But we're still going to give you recommendations of what we think that ACoS should be, and it's pretty much always going to be higher than you expect, especially at launch. And then we have a liquidate template too. So if you have a product that you're selling that just isn't doing well and you just need to get rid of it, you're paying too much in storage fees, or you've got a new product coming in that is the 2.0 version or replacement version, then we have one that's just focused on conversions. So instead of focusing on ACoS, it's just focusing on, hey, which keywords are driving sales? I'm gonna throw money at those keywords despite ACoS. So it really depends on the life cycle of your product, which was the theme I wanted to talk about, because your approach for PPC is different at launch than it is when you're just scaling your campaign, and then to when you're getting rid of that product. So we've created these templates for pretty much the 3 stages of a product. The product is brand new to Amazon, and then it sells well, hopefully, and that's you're in maintenance mode and you're just managing it. And then there comes a point eventually, probably, that you're just going to get rid of that product. Hopefully it's because a new version came out and you just want to get rid of the first version. So that's your liquidate stage too. So my tips are just to use the quick builder. It's the easiest thing to do. Pick a template. There's pro training videos for the templates as well, if you guys want to check that out. If you're brand registered though, that is when you'd want to use the guided builder, because the guided builder is the one where you can also then add your sponsored brands and your sponsored display campaigns, which I also highly suggest that you do. Okay, Levi says, Helium 10 seems to recommend a max 10 keywords per campaign, but the atomic structure doesn't actually support this with the rule flows, as the would seemingly flow performance keywords past 10. Is there a way to address this? So these are 2 separate things, Levi. When we suggest using 10 keywords per campaign, that's at launch. That's just at launch. Make sure that you have the same amount of search volume wise, the same amount of keywords in each campaign. If you've got really high search volume keywords, don't put them in the same campaign as a low. So technically, you would create different flows for those sets of keywords. So the campaign structure at the beginning doesn't change. It shouldn't change based on using rule flows like from ads or from Adtomic. At the beginning, if you have mixed search terms, if you have high volume potential search terms with low volume search terms, and you put it into the Adtomic, then yeah, it's going to find, it's going to just leverage the search terms it's finding from those higher search volume keywords, right? And promote them if it's a keyword campaign to a keyword campaign. So that means you set it up wrong. So again, all we can do is give you guys best practices and let you know in this example to set your search terms, set your search volumes the same at campaign. But you can have 2 different flows then, right? You can have an auto campaign, a 4-campaign structure here with really high search volume keywords. You can have a 4-campaign auto structure here with low volume search term, and then those will all be more relevant. The scenario I just gave, though, for the quick builder, there isn't any keywords. There's no keywords at all. We just leverage the auto campaign. So even in the guided builder, you could just put 1 keyword in each, right? In each group, 1 keyword in the broad campaign, 1 keyword in the exact match campaign. And we're still going to promote those keywords because those keywords have gotten the impressions that we want, right? And it's made some sales, which is what we want. And then the tool recognizes that and says, hey, this is a good keyword, and moves it. So you're combining 2 different things in your head that aren't necessarily connected. The search term, max 10 keyword search terms at the beginning at launch is just to make sure that those 10 search terms get impressions. Because if you've got too many keywords, they won't. If you've got of those 10 keywords, if half are really high volume, then obviously the bottom half won't. That's all at setup. If a keyword's proven itself and it's made sales and it's got the impressions, and it's done that goal. It's accomplished the reasoning behind setting up those different campaign structures at launch. So you don't have to worry about it as much then. If you're dealing with really high search volume keywords in general, and you still want to test other lower volume keywords, then build different flows. Those are 2 different flows. Those are this auto campaign running these into these campaigns, and then auto campaign might even be the same. Auto might be even the same SKU, but it's running to campaigns that you know have higher volume search terms. So that's the way you should look at that versus saying this campaign can only ever have 10 keywords in it, and because they're not going to get search volume. Well, it already did. It already did get search volume. It already did well. It already proved itself. That's why it got moved. So that's a different scenario. All right. Who else? Does Adtomic offer separate campaign templates for branded keywords? No, but you can use the templates that are there for your branded keywords if you want. So if you wanted to create a branded keyword flow, you could do that. You would just have to watch the auto campaign keyword, auto campaign keywords, because the auto campaign, there's no way to tell Amazon that you only want branded keywords to your auto campaign unless you negate every single keyword in the world except for your branded keywords, which would be a lot of work. So in that instance, you would have to just watch the keywords that are being promoted, and then but still you could add branded keywords into your broad campaign and into your performance campaign. But yeah, you do have to watch those because, again, Amazon's driving search terms all the time, different versions of your keywords to your keywords. Personally, I think it's great to have just a branded keyword campaign, right? That branded keyword campaign can have your phrase, your exact, your broad if you want. I tend to not go broad with branded keywords because then that means you'll get a lot of different variations of your search term that sometimes don't even include your brand word in it from Amazon. As long as you have one campaign with that and then a sponsored brand campaign, also a branded keyword targeted, then you're kind of covered. You don't need 10 different campaigns. If you want to do product targeting campaigns, you could have a product targeting campaign that has all your ASINs in it as well. That's being defensive of your own real estate. But at the end of the day, it's not bad if Amazon. So I'll give you another example from a different client. So if Amazon recognizes a name, a brand name, it's a bike rack, it's called Steady Rack. If the brand keyword is Steady Rack bike rack, but Amazon recognizes that it's a really high selling bike rack and starts sending search terms to that particular keyword that don't have the brand in it, but they sell, that's good. That's a lower converting, that's a lower CPC search term that just made a sale off your branded keyword that you didn't have to fight for. You're just bidding upon your branded keyword, and Amazon knows that you're doing so well with this product that it's connecting all these non-branded terms to that keyword. That's awesome. That's great if Amazon does that for you. It's not bad. So what you do want to do though is look at your data and see which of these other search terms that are being attached to your branded keywords, and then to also target those too in a separate campaign, in a non-branded campaign. But I tend to not, if something's not broke with Amazon, I tend to not fix it. Unless you're doing really, really super high volumes and you really want to control all those search terms, then you would do things like negate that keyword in the example I just gave you. Otherwise, I'm looking at the data and the search terms that Amazon's driving to these branded keywords are so low, such low CPCs, and they perform so well. I'm not going to touch that. I'm not going to play with that. I'm going to target the keywords that I see that are there also in another campaign. But yeah, so I hope that makes sense. Boris asks, can you talk about choosing a custom period within Amazon? Custom period could be last week. A custom period could be all of last year. That's all I meant. So it depends on how you want to look at the data. You can look at it from, if I just wanted to look at 2020 in Adtomic, I could. If I just wanted to look at the month of January in Adtomic, I could. That's a custom period. So the only thing that you won't be able to do is look at the most recent 72 hours. And typically includes the same day you're looking at it, depending on what time zone you're in, because we don't show the past 72 hours in our tool for a reason. And we get a lot of questions. Why don't you do that? Look it up. It's in the knowledge base tutorial. We don't look at the past 72 hours because Amazon tells you not to look at the past 72 hours of data. If any of you go into Seller Central and you hover over your clicks, sales, or ACoS columns in Seller Central, you'll see Amazon telling you this data fluctuates. So don't take this data on faith in this time period. So we don't even show it at all. Jill asks, I have a product that my competitors are running PPC ads. Can Adtomic help me find my competitors' keywords so I can run PPC as well? No, Adtomic can't help you find your competitors' keywords, but just using, you should be able to do that pretty quickly just using a magnet. So all you got to do, or Cerebro, is put your competitors' ASINs into Cerebro, and it'll pull up the keywords that they're using to be shown on page 1. So that's not yet integrated into our PPC tool yet. It will be, hopefully, knock on wood, by the end of the year. My goal is to have as many different integrations between Helium 10 tools and Adtomic as possible. So, but yeah, it's a great idea. But you currently have the capability right now, Joe. Basically, I'm just saying you just need to do it in Cerebro, and then just take those ASINs and use them as you would. Take the keywords you found from those ASINs, and then that's your competitors' keywords. All right, Ethel Rose, what PPC strategy can you recommend for a niche in apparel that is super competitive? Since apparel have a lot of variations, we must maintain stock limits at 1,000 and below. How can we preventing out of stock while maintaining sales velocity? Yeah, a lot of people are dealing with out of stock issues right now in general because of the restrictions on certain types of products that Amazon has in place still because of COVID. They are relaxing those, and hopefully people will be able to have a lot more stock. So what I would suggest is if you have a lot of budget, then just attack it. There's a couple of different things that you can do with a lot of budget. You could really outprice your competitors for like a week or two. If you can successfully do that, you can potentially knock them off of some keywords that you can then use and after the fact and at a lower cost. So you could really just do an outbidding type process to get ahead of your competitors for a week or two, depending on how much budget you have. That is definitely something that you can do. If you are not brand registered, I would definitely do that for the reasons that I gave. And I would specifically use the strategy of the sponsored display campaign, product targeting campaigns I mentioned, which is basically figuring out who some of your competitors are, finding those ASINs, and then making sure that your ad is being displayed on their product listing, right under the bullets, right under the buy box. If you do custom creative with your sponsored display campaigns, you also, it comes and goes for some reason, but on a product listing in Amazon, usually there's like a really thin advertisement right at the top. It's called a stripe. That's an actual sponsored display ad placement as well. But you can only get that ad placement if you use sponsored display and add a custom logo or a custom creative along with like a short tagline. So almost like a sponsored brand ad where you have to upload your logo and a headline for some text, from some copy. If you do that, that's also going to really be beneficial for visibility. And then you're leveraging effectively some of your competitors are going to be running their own PPC campaign strategy to get people to their page. So if you get really good about appearing at on your competitors' pages, you effectively take advantage of all that work that they've done to get the shopper there to their page to begin with. So it's kind of that's not one of my favorite strategies, only because it's a smart one. But again, you can only do that if you're brand registered, and then you would want to launch sponsored display campaigns with custom creative. Yeah. Gianni asks, someone found and clicked on my ad by using my brand name as a search term. Is it a good idea to add my brand name in negative keywords? Thanks. No, why would you want to do that? So I'll ask you this, Gianni, would you want somebody else to show up if somebody typed in your brand keyword and then clicked on it? No, you don't want that. that's what will happen. So the whole point of running branded keyword campaigns is to capture people that are searching for your products, because guess what? So your competitors are doing that. Your competitors are also targeting your ASINs and your keywords. Are they going to show up for those keywords? Sometimes they do. It depends on how creative they are. Depends on how old the campaign is that the competitor is running. Depends on indexing. Depends on a couple of different things. But the point is that you always want to appear as much as possible whenever your brand name appears. I always like to use Bulletproof Coffee as an example. If you guys type in Bulletproof Coffee, you'll see them everywhere on the page. They're in the sponsored brand ad position. They're in all the top positions for sponsored. They're in almost all the top positions for organic. If you click on any of their listings, you're going to see their ad in the top stripe. You're going to see their ads under the bullet, their ad under the buy box. So they know that all of that placements, all that real estate is really valuable. And it's really easy for somebody to find your product, but then go to something different because they saw it on your listing, especially. So yeah, it really depends on the strategy you're trying to fund. If you're saying that you don't want to have them searching for your brand, or if you're saying you're trying to funnel them into a branded keyword campaign, you can. But again, if you're getting conversions organically that way, I wouldn't do too many negating of your branded keywords. Does Adtomic look up keywords 90 days behind also from pause campaigns? Yes, it does. So there's debate over that, why we look at data from pause campaigns. A, it's because we have it. And B, there are people that are coming over to our tool that either from a different tool, or they're doing it, maybe they were doing things manually and they have all these campaigns that aren't running anymore. And then they want to use our rule sets to basically let Adtomic do that work of going through all the search terms, finding the bad ones and making them negative, finding the good ones and then promoting them. So effectively, with a pause campaign, you can put them into a rule set, into a group, and you can let Adtomic run the rules on that pause campaign before you turn it back on. So that is the reason why the answer to that question is yes. And it's also the reason why a lot of people are seeing suggestions for pause campaigns. So if you don't want that anymore, then archive the campaign. If it's a campaign that you know you're never ever going to have on ever again, it should be archived. That's what archive is for. Paused is only for temporary. Paused is, it's not doing right now, but it might be doing well in a couple months, or maybe it's a holiday type of campaign, right? You have a holiday product or seasonal product with holiday keywords in it. You know it's not going to do well in the summer, so you pause it. But pausing typically means it's supposed to mean that you're going to return it on someday. So those of you that are seeing maybe a lot of keyword suggestions and such on pause campaigns, archive your campaigns, and then you won't see that. Hopefully. If you do, then let us know. All right, who else? Chris asks, with the new Adtomic tool, what's the best way to set up campaigns if we have a product with 3 variations? Always my favorite question, Jake, huh? This is the variation question. These are size variations, so we have a price range from 39 to 99. So as with most things Amazon, it all depends on your budget. So if you wanted to set up those 3 variations in their own campaign structure, you could do that, right? So you could just say, this SKU, this SKU, this SKU, I'm going to create the 4 campaign structure minimum that we have in Adtomic, which is your auto research, broad, and your exact match performance campaign, and then your product targeting campaign. So you could do that for all 3. Then you would be technically competing on the same keywords, but not to the point you need to worry about it. But you potentially would show up on the search results page multiple times, right? So if you wanted to do that, you could do that. Now, since your price range is so broad, you're gonna have to do that anyways. I just noticed your price range here. So you're not gonna want to advertise the one that's 39 at the same time with the one that's $99, right? Because you're gonna get different results based on your price point. So if you've got 3 product sizes, I would assuming the middle one would be $59.99. You definitely want to run 3 different sets of campaigns. If the variations were like color, but it's the same price point, that's when effectively you could throw them all into the same campaign and then ultimately see which color performs best. Maybe pull that color out and then focus that on your PPC. But if it's price ranges like this, you have to run them as separate campaigns. You don't have a choice because you don't want to have your results skewed by somebody who can afford the $39 one, but doesn't want to or can't afford the $99 one. So you need to see the results. You need to see the results of the results of what those price points might cause. You need to see those separately. Where can people find you on Clubhouse events? Yeah, as I mentioned, it's 11. We'll go through a few more questions here since I was late and delayed. But yeah, you're going to find me on PPC Pros. So go to Clubhouse. You can look up at PPC Pros. So we can throw that up there. Let's see. Yeah, Chris just answered that question. That $39, $79, $99 the price point. So yeah, you definitely want to have those as different campaigns. So I can actually probably go in there now. So I've started a room. It's open. All right. So that's open. So just find me on PPC Pros, or just under my name, Vincent Montero, and we can continue that conversation there. But let's answer a few more questions here, since we had issues with my share screen. You mentioned we can create a low volume auto campaign and a high volume campaign. How is this done? So that's actually not. It's what I mentioned, but what I suggest is that your oh look, there's already people on there. Cool. What I suggest is that you turn your auto campaign into a low volume auto campaign, right? So your auto campaign, when you start it, you want it to be broad. You want to have higher bids so you can capture as much data as humanly possible. It'll funnel your other campaigns with ASINs for product campaigns. It'll funnel your keyword-based campaigns with keywords, which is what you want. Eventually, over time, though, you're gonna get everything. You're gonna squeeze the juice out of that auto campaign, right? It's not like infinite. It's not gonna find new search terms forever. It's gonna find the bulk of them. You're isolating them. Then you're focusing on those keywords manually in your campaigns. You're escalating those campaigns. So at that point, and each product's different. Could be a few months, could be a year that you do this. Maybe, look at your reviews compared to your competitors to see how, when you want to make this type of switch. But the goal, I think, with auto campaigns eventually is to not just let them run forever at the same, because they're not going to perform as well eventually. Just turn it into a low bid auto campaign. So instead of a standard high bid auto campaign, it becomes low bid. You just adjust the bids down, and then look at the targeting too, the 4 targeting matches, see how those were doing, adjust those down. And then it's just going to pick up remnant traffic. It's not going to be high volume. It's not going to get a lot of sales, but the sales that do come in generally are going to be a much lower ACoS and lower CPC, right? So that's kind of the goal of the transitioning from a high to low. Now, if you wanted to launch a low bid auto campaign just by itself, just to test how that goes, then just build it in Seller Central and just see how that goes on its own. Anything that it's going to require more than one campaign is what you're going to want to use Adtomic for. If you want to just build one-off campaigns to test how they do, then build it in Seller Central. All right, so it is 11:04, and I see Mr. Jake is in the clubhouse, but there were a couple more people in here. You're welcome, Levi. I'm glad that makes sense. Let's answer Mohammed's question because Jake can still hear this. Right, Jake? Can you hear me? Can I unplug him or unmute you? Yeah, okay, cool. So, no need for a PPC campaigns. We just need an optimizer. Do I agree with this statement? Let's see. I agree with this statement to a certain extent. Yeah. If you're launching a super niche product and there's no other competitors out there, and as long as you're optimized, your listing is optimized, it's on point, right? Then yeah, you might not need PPC right at the beginning. But if you are in any kind of category at all that is a little bit more competitive, which is most sellers, then I do solidly believe that PPC needs to be a part of your strategy. However, it's only a part of your strategy after you have fully optimized your listing. Far too many sellers just get on, they put their listing up and they start doing PPC, and they're like, oh, my PPC isn't working. Well, because your listing's crap. You you can't put lipstick on a swan, and it doesn't matter how much money you throw at a listing if it's ugly, if it's got bad images, if it's got misspellings in the bullets, if it's got the wrong price point. PPC won't help you. PPC only helps listings that have been optimized, that look good. It looks good, or at least on the same level as your competitors. Your listing is comparable. If you can look at your competitor's listing and look at your listing, and you can still say, their listing's kind of better than mine, then maybe don't do PPC at launch, right? Because you're not ready. Your listing isn't ready, right? And that's what you're trying to sell. And you only get first chance to make one chance to make a first impression, because once that seller lands on your listing that maybe wasn't optimized, they're probably not going to come back. Unless they were just browsing, they might come back at a future date. But imagine if they come back to your listing and it's a lot more information, better images, and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely just focus on how optimized can I make my listing, and before I launch my PPC, right? You can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in glitter. That is a great one, Hayden. You can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in glitter. Yeah, that's what people try to do with listings sometimes, and it doesn't work. So we'll see you in 2 weeks for the next TACoS Tuesday. I will have figured out, I promise you by then, how to do the screen share. Well, by then I'll be on my actual computer, not my personal computer line right now. So we won't have these issues, and maybe in 2 weeks even my foot will be healed. That'll be nice. I'll be in the office. We can actually do the Instagram live. So come back for that. In the meantime, ppcama@helium10.com is the email to send us updates or ask questions that maybe you didn't get answered here. And then right now, it looks like just Jake and I are in. Might just have a one-on-one call with Jake. But for the next 22 minutes, I will also be in Clubhouse just to continue on this conversation here. So join us over there if you guys would like. All right, take care. Bye-bye.